I don't edit some things. I try not to edit, especially I'm not editing that. Welcome to this edition of
Right. We're gonna have bloopers.
I think we'll have to. Welcome to this edition of Weeds World. My name is Jeremy Wiens, your host here, and today I'm joined by Joe Friesen of Coldwell Banker. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm taking a little bit of a side twist here, inviting another real estate agent onto the podcast, but did it for a reason. Joe's got some good things on the go that I thought were good to share with, some organizations that he's jumping on with. I'm going to let him share more about that as we go, but Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and just about you.
I'm Joe Friesen. I grew up, actually I was born in Bolivia, and we moved out here when I was 5. So I've been a good old-fashioned Canadian for the last 25 years, and there's not a whole lot more to it than that.
That's about it. I think there's going to be more as we go, but
there might be.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, and then we'll dive into a little bit of that, and then what do you do for real estate? What do you do stand out, and go from there.
What do I do for real estate? Yeah, you're going to be a little more specific.
What do you do? Like, how do you get yourself out there? What drew you to real estate? What got you involved? How long have you been doing it?
Okay, real estate has been, July will be 2 years.
July.
So its first full year was last year. So that was a fun year. Got to do it with this guy. Fun times. Or at least I tell him. And we've been hustling. You've seen it. We've seen it. We're always going at it. We're making things happen. And we're constantly just bouncing ideas off of each other, which is crazy. This guy made me do my first video. Was not impressed that day, but hey, we did it. And now he has me doing another video. Look at this. Look at the way that worked out.
Yeah. So let's tell that story a little bit about what you first did that. So how long you were an agent for? How long at that time?
You know what? I don't even know. Maybe a couple months.
I don't even know it wasn't that long. It was probably a month, maybe
A month. Okay.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, me and you were bouncing off ideas off each other, which was abnormal from what I'm hearing from the rest of the real estate world.
Consider you didn't think you'd like me to begin with, so
there is that. Yeah. I had this freaking stuff. I would not like it. That was mindset.
He prejudged me on that one.
I did. I very much did. Yeah. Just no doubting that, or no denying it. Yeah. But we ended up being pretty good friends.
Yeah.
They're days. I'm kidding. No, it's been good. But no, it's the first video I did was I had an open house, and I think I was hosting it for one of the agents. Well, I knew I was hosting it for one of the agents in our office, which was great. And I went to go put the open house signs, and I'm like, why don't you just come with me? Actually, you didn't ask if you wanted to come with me. You asked me if you could come with.
Yeah.
Which I thought was odd to begin with. I'm like, there's got to be better things to do than.
But you've been asking me about videos and how I do videos and all that stuff for a while at that point. So I saw an opportunity. And
you took it and then blindsided me with it too.
Yeah.
To be honest. So I'm putting up the open house sign, and he's, just back up a little bit, took his phone out, actually took
your phone.
Here, now make a 15-second video about to talk about how this is a 4-bedroom, 2 acres, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what the heck? But it was fun. So we did the first awkward video I put out there, and I put many more out since.
Absolutely, you have. Some of them were like the one where you're jumping, and then all of a sudden, like, there's a few that were just like, or the ones where you're dancing. Those, if you haven't checked those out,
it's sold. I get so happy when it's sold.
Yeah. unique blend there, right? So
we, as realtors, I think we're more marketers than we are anything else.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yeah. Okay. So been 2 years almost. In July it'll be 2 years. Mm-hmm. How have you found business? How have you found it going? Are you enjoying it? Is it something you're?
Yes. No, business has been great.
That's a softball question.
It is a softball question. Yeah, it is. Business has been fun. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It has its ups and downs. Every workplace does, and then you have these moments of, what am I doing? And you've been there for those. You've heard me say that, and I've talked to the partners about it and all that stuff. It's been, you get those moments of just doubt.
Yeah.
And you let that fog everything, and you're just totally messes with you. You've been a rock for that. You've helped me out of those lulls often, so thanks for that. Really appreciate that. And But my first full year in real estate, I actually ended up winning MLS World. I didn't win it. I earned it, apparently, yeah. The MLS the Bronze Award, which was pretty cool. But it's been fun. It's been very entertaining.
Yeah.
And not at all what I expected. I wasn't expecting it to be easy. I knew there was going to be a lot of work. I just didn't realize what the work actually meant.
Right.
What does it mean to put in the work as a realtor? It's very different than...
We'll get into your past a little bit, but it definitely is a lot different than driving truck or doing any other job. It's a lot more. It can be a lot more taxing almost when you're working hard and things just aren't going the way you want.
Yeah.
That could be mental battle through and through, right? So you
100%.
kind of have to have that resilience in it
Mm-hmm.
that people just don't understand or don't always get, right? So
Yeah, there's a different level to everything we're doing now compared to what we did before. It's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not trucking 24/7 either.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's dive a little bit into your past. Okay, you said you were 5 when you came from Bolivia.
Yes, sir.
So do you remember anything about Bolivia? Have you ever been back?
I have not.
Okay.
That is one of the goals. I want to go back in the next 2-ish, maybe 3-ish years.
Okay.
Love to go visit. Would be a lot of fun just to go explore everything. And I mean, they have the jungle out there. They got monkeys. They got...
They have snakes. Don't go there.
Story about snakes.
No.
I remember when I don't know how old I was, but I was walking down a long driveway. It was a store. My uncle and auntie, I think they owned it. I'm not 100% sure, but somebody owned the store, and just long gravel driveway. And I remember walking, and I just stopped, and my legs were spread like this, and I look in between, and there is a snake right in between my legs. I don't think I've ever ran so fast in my life. I am not a fan of snakes. Not then, not now.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go back, or I wouldn't go there just for that reason. I get why you think your parents got out. Makes sense to me.
It's fair. It's fair, yeah.
Coming to Canada, how was that? What was, like, I guess most of your childhood is Canada, right? So what was it like? Tell us about who you are. What kind developed you into the person you are today?
Oh man, that is a loaded question.
We got time.
We got the biggest.
I got the Kleenex too, so.
We're not gonna get that deep today.
No, we're not.
At least I hope not. The biggest. I lost my train of thought. I had a thing, but it's gone.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Like, what created you to be who you are today is what
As a person.
as a person.
Okay. Let's see. I remember when we got out here, and I remember playing with my cousin. Me and my cousin, we were like tight, and then for years we weren't, but now we're tight again. But I don't know if there's any big defining moments of what the reason I am who I am today, because I feel like we're working on ourselves constantly. I mean, you know that we chat with each other pretty constantly, but
Yeah.
we're just continuous improvements, right? And then, yeah, I'm not.
Let's get into where you start off career-wise. What was one of your first jobs? Where did you start off with that?
Oh, one of my first jobs, I actually ended up working at a dairy farm.
Okay.
Yep. I also got fired pretty quick. I worked my first week, and I remember $120. I'm like, whoa, that's a ton of money
Yeah.
for 12, 13, 14 years old. I don't remember. But do you know what I can do with $120? So much. Until you just decide not to show up anywhere to work because you have $120. You're rich, you're loaded, you're good to go. So I ended up getting fired from that job, which I wasn't disappointed about it all either. But I actually ended up working at the hatchery in Grunthal for, I would say about 7 years. I started when I was in high school, and I actually ended up working there a little bit after.
Okay.
So I was working there when I met my wife, and that's also...
Is that how you met your wife?
That is how I met my
Okay.
wife, yes. Yes, so...
Okay, so the hatching, that sounds like a delightful job, I'm sure.
A lot of chicks.
A lot of you married one.
I did. I did.
Yeah. Worked out well for you there.
It
so
did work out well, yeah.
what did you do after that? Where did you transition to?
After that, I jumped around a little bit. I went into construction. We did a little bit of post-training. I had a cousin of mine who was looking for somebody to help. And I did that for a little bit. Learned real quick. I am not a good person for heights. Heights maybe themselves are fine. Walking up on top of rafters when there's no sheeting, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And so learned pretty quick that wasn't for me. I jumped around to a pig barn, and then I actually ended up painting for 7 years. And I've been was painting for, like I said, good 7 years, and Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Honestly, I think if I wouldn't have jumped into this career, I think I would have actually gone back to that.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, because that is where I found a lot of joy. I found a lot of joy out of.
So why is that?
You know what? I'm not even sure. It's, well, you get a blank wall. You got to make it. You get to make everything look pretty. You also get to go into every house, right?
Right.
After it's done, after the flooring, after everything is, it's just gorgeous. This is the reason I'm in real estate, is because I get to see the finished product all the time. And I think that was just one of the things that fueled me up to get to where I am today. Because we got to see these massive houses. We saw amazing houses, and they were just fantastic. Plus, it gave you an in, right? Just gave you an in to see all these places without being a creeper.
You're doing it already, so you might as well get paid for it.
Just kidding.
So painting was an interesting one, but then you switched into trucking from there, right? Or was there?
I did. There was some in between that. A few other random jobs, some little bit of a pig barn, some
Right.
renovations of hog barns and stuff like that. So I've had my experience in a lot of construction, but never actually building homes, more shops and pig barns and
Okay.
stuff like that. So always ended up being around agricultural. And I remember painting one day. I called one of my buddies up, and I don't think we were buddies then yet, but we became buddies after a while of me harassing him long enough. And I asked him, like, is trucking a good career? And he's like, I think so. I'm doing it. Been doing it for the last 7-8 years. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to do this. No trucking experience. No, none of that. Zero. Nada.
They
Zilch.
decided-
I dived in. I did the 6-week course. I think it was 6 weeks. 244-hour course at United, and that was the most fun I think I've ever had. Just doing a 6-week course. I had a guy who's now actually a good friend of mine, Abe, was there, and I actually thought he was the instructor. He was quite a bit older than me, and we actually developed a crazy good friendship. We're still friends to this day. We don't talk enough anymore, but when we were driving truck, we chatted all the time.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the relationships you create while you go, and even different careers. But yeah, so I drove truck for 3 years, and then I actually ended up buying my own truck.
Okay.
Well, I drove truck for 2 years, and then I bought my own truck, and then I drove my own truck for another 5 years.
Okay. So what made you decide to get? Was it just the money that you thought would be attractive for trucking, or?
No, it was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was, got to go everywhere, and I got to work for a local livestock company, and everybody knows Steve's Livestock. And they had these short regional runs where you go to Iowa and Wisconsin and Alberta and Ontario, which wasn't my favorite, but once in a while. And it was a very fulfilling career. It was actually a lot of fun. But money was good, but it is also hard. It's an extremely exhausting job. And you have the snowstorms to think about. You have all this crazy stuff. Any fellow trucker out there, you know what it's about. It's got its moments.
Wow, like my dad, my brother
Yeah.
drove truck. My brother drives truck again. I used to go with my dad on the road all the time when I was a kid, right? It was one of those things. I get all that, the excitement of going on the road and seeing Canada, the U.S., all over, right? And it was always a good time, and you got to see different countries, see different things, experience all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Truck stop food for life. It was
Nothing like a Flying J pizza. Super greasy, but it'll go down real good.
the grease just slides right through you.
Won't go there.
Yeah, no, exactly, right. So I got the allure to it, but so that was kind of a weird thing going on. You love painting, but you quit to go to trucking. Now you love trucking, and you quit to go to real estate, right? Is that
I had my season for trucking. Once I was done, I was done. And if you would talk to some of my friends, they would tell you that like the odds of Joe going back in a truck are pretty stinking low.
yeah.
And I think they're right. It was a very fulfilling career, but I think it ran its course. I think over the time, it's just God giving you this direction. You're like, okay, here you are now, and we're gonna just totally decide and just
But you had young kids too, right? That's
yes.
like how old were your kids were?
My
young?
daughter was I think 1 year old when I started trucking,
Okay,
and then my son was born, and 3 years later, so
right.
my daughter would have been 6 or 7.
Okay.
Probably 7 when I. No, probably 8. No, 7.
7 probably, yeah.
Maths.
You should be good at math, Joe. Come on.
I am.
No, you-
Sometimes.
yeah.
But there was that. But also my wife, she didn't like it at all that I was on the road. But that's the thing. My trucking career was actually golden. I was gone for maybe 1 to 2 nights a week,
Okay.
and I was home every other night. Typically, I had for trucking was amazing.
Okay.
And a lot of guys wouldn't even call it trucking; they'd just be it's like glorified steering wheel holder. And let's be honest, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was like, we were going to Texas, we were going to Florida, we were going to all over Arkansas, like all over the states, then Toronto and back, right? So it was like gone for 7 days, 10 days, 5 days. It was gone, right? So
He was legit over the road trucking
yeah,
for sure.
so that was
Yeah.
a whole lot different than.
Yeah, no, I was regional. That's about as far as I wanted to go. So
Oh, hey, and you're also, well, you said you had a young family, something to be there to support if you can, right? So,
absolutely, yeah.
so that matters. So what made you decide real estate? Did you just like, God was throwing darts at the board and that's where it landed, or is there something?
Looking back now, maybe you would always meet your friends, down the interstate or the highway, anywhere you might be, and my buddy Tony would always be like, "Hey, did you see that sweet P 379, like gorgeous truck?" New, always missed it. I did not notice trucks whatsoever. But but you'll see a house that's 5 miles down the road that nobody else can see, but somehow you can see. I said, yeah, but they're gorgeous. Have you seen an Iowa house? Like, they are fantastic, especially those Iowa farmers' houses.
Right.
Oh my word, just beauties. So it just, that was one of the sparks. Was maybe I should go into real estate. That might just be it for me. But I got deterred from it for a little bit.
Okay.
Like, I had one person tell me straight up, I don't think you'd make a good agent, and I actually ended up not going for my license for quite some time for that.
Really?
That really messed
Shook
with me
you
a
up,
little bit.
right?
Oh, it did, yeah. But I've chatted with him since then about
Right.
that, and it was just in the moment, and he buy it, which is all good. And he apologized, and he didn't even remember saying it. But everybody else I've talked to, they're not even surprised that this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. I am a realtor. I am selling houses.
Yeah.
So nobody is surprised by it. Apparently, they tell me after the fact.
That's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah, I guess that would have been the main thing. I would sooner see houses than I would see trucks, and it's always been more of my passion.
So how was it getting your license? Did you enjoy it? The process, the studying, the books, all that fun stuff?
No, not at
right?
all. No, it was that was probably my goal was to finish it in. Oh, I don't even remember. I think it was like 3 months, and I think I did it in about 3.5 months. No, I wanted to do it in 4 months, I think. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But I hounded through those books, and there was a couple times I was ready to call them and be like, your book is wrong. 'Cause it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And if you'd ask my wife about this, she'd be like, it's literally sitting on the floor with these books in my hand, notebook, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
I love the part about fax machines.
What is that even?
There was one section I thought they were talking about the new thing, email coming into effect. I was like, oh, okay, all right. Study.
Emails coming in.
Yeah.
Beware, folks.
that part made me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we're a little bit behind the times on this one.
I think they might have updated it since then.
Okay,
Because I
hope
hope
so.
they did.
I hope so.
Because I don't actually remember any of faxes.
Okay. My books are right there, so I can go look.
Oh. Should have brought my compared notes.
Yeah. Getting to real estate now, let's go into that. You hit the ground running, and you were moving pretty fast with everything else, right? And that was really good for you.
Yeah, it was.
What do you think contributed to your success?
A lot of it, I think, would be the office and the support team that we have.
Yeah.
And you've been there. Our admin team is freaking amazing.
Yes.
And they push. And they're like, you know what, you got this, you're going to do this. And you have Lindsay. She is always getting us out of real estate jail. That's what I would say, real estate jail.
Yeah.
But it is, I think a lot of that would be that. The partners are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You have been a huge part of it. We've done now a few deals together, and you've actually dealt with some of my clients where I've been in Dallas and something like that. And make it sound like I just go to Dallas for fun. I was on a training conference.
How was the course?
It was great. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, conference, right?
First time golfing in Dallas.
Yeah.
Apparently the grass isn't great. That's why somebody else was so good. You know who it is. Not saying anything.
You won't watch.
Yes, that's right. But I literally landed, got to my hotel room, and then I get a text from one of my clients. Hey, this house came on the market. I want to see it. I'm like, that's great. I'm not here. 1-800 Jeremy Wiens, and he took care of it and worked out fantastic. We have such a different way of handling people, and it was the right person at the right time.
Yeah. And that's part of why we work together as well, is because you have clients where I can connect with, and that's that certain scenario.
Right.
It was, if they liked that house as much as
Yeah.
they said they did, they had to write it that day because we were going to go with competing offers. Not only that, which they had to write above asking because there's no other option, and
Right.
we had to, and for whatever reason, my first time meeting them, I was very direct, very upfront. I said, "This, if we want it, this is how we're going to have to do it to win."
And these people appreciated that. Straight to the point, no BS.
Yeah, and it's one where you've been fighting with them on they liked and then they backed off. They liked and then they backed off, and you told me about that ahead of time. So I was like, I'm just going to tell them that, just be completely direct with them.
Yes.
And this is what it's going to need to do, and I try to do that as much as I can with clients, right? And for whatever reason, they totally listened. We ended up winning, and I called you about that. And you're like, "There's no way." You're a little bit choked at the moment.
I was. I'm like, what are the odds of it? But at the end of the day, like, they ended up in a house that they loved. And we've both been there after to check in to see how things are going, and brought them a pizza on possession day.
Yeah.
And it was like they were loving it. Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth working with you. Worth working with you, huh?
Pizza, really is worth it.
Not that we had any. We gave it all to them.
That's true. We should have taken a slice before. Yeah, sorry.
But no, it's been good. And out of that though, we will be working together in the future on another listing together, which will be which is something we have talked about pretty much since I started. How cool would that be to co-list something? And it's coming. Don't know when, but it'll come eventually. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't see each other as competition. If anything, we just compliment each other on things that we. And although we are technically
competition technically, but we also run in different circles for the most part, right?
Right.
So we also help each other out where needed, right? There's that different aspect of that I think matters in a different context, right? Because I won't have that same relationship with just any agent, right? There's just some that you don't have that ability to connect with and ability to trust in that area, right? So we have a little bit similar personalities in those, in that.
Similar personalities, but yet total different way of doing things.
So.
And it complements each other.
It
It works so well. It's wild.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and that gets you up to where we are now. So now I want to shift into something you just recently started.
Yes.
You jumped on a new board. I want you to take some time and actually go into what it is, what they do, what your role is, and what the goal is with that moving forward. Go into that a bit.
Not a lot has been totally discussed, and I'm not even sure if you'd call it being on a board, but I'm part of this.
We're gonna call it on.
We're gonna call it on a board. It just sounds nice. I'm on a board, and it's the Kyler Rogal Foundation, or Kyler Rogal Memorial. It's a fundraiser. They're fundraising this year for Backstage, and they're actually specifically for counseling.
Okay.
And that's to be able to pay for counseling for like quick, like last minute or on the ball counseling for something traumatic that's happened. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Backstage, but a lot of it has to do with kids that are having a bit of a rough time, rough home, or whatever it might be. And if you guys haven't heard about the Kyler Rogal, he committed suicide a few years ago, and that's rough. That's sad. 19 years old, took his life, felt like he was at his wit's end. And so that's something that's near to me. I want to work with people who are working towards preventing this kind of stuff. This is some serious business. So We're ganging up together. My role will be specifically to reach out to other sales people, either in the real estate industry or whatever it might be. If you know of somebody who wants to join, contact us and we'll figure it out. We'll get you involved in some way, shape, or form. But it'll be to fundraise for this specific one, will be for exactly that, for counseling for these kids who are dealing with all this stuff. And a lot of these kids, they're dealing with, they have problems with, they have problems. They're dealing with police. They got stuff going on at home. That is hard.
Yeah.
And depression and all this stuff. We got to work on this kind of stuff as a society. We can't be having this anymore.
Backstage is a great organization.
Yeah.
They have a big outreach and they make a huge impact
Absolutely.
in Steinbach and whatnot. Like, Youth for Christ as a whole is very, very driven, very motivated, very purposeful in what they're doing, right?
Yes.
And so I know when I was younger, I used to go to Backstage every once in a while and just go meet up with people, and you just got to see the atmosphere there. Is like the leaders, the people that are there, the employees, whatever, the volunteers, they actually cared about what they're giving. They cared about what they're doing, and I doubt that's changed. I think they have a pretty good organization. I know Jim, once he stepped back, and I think it was Ruben that took over, like I don't know if he still is to this day, but they have good leadership there, and they have good things going on.
It's a safe space for teens to just really hang out.
Yeah.
And just know that somebody cares. So, no, this is going to be great. It's going to be really good.
So this foundation, tell us a little bit more about, so that's Mike and
Lisa, yeah.
Mike and Lisa, okay. So tell us a little bit about what exactly, I guess it's from their son's suicide, right?
Correct.
And that initiated this whole thing, correct?
Absolutely. So, as a parent, can you even imagine going through that? That's terrible.
Yeah.
And out of all of this, they decided, in a way to honor their son, would be to create this memorial.
Yeah.
And this memorial foundation, or whatever you want to call it, to raise money. Last year they did the Drop Zone in Grunthal,
Okay.
which was fantastic. I was honored to be one of the sponsors there. I know me, Paul, and Rachel were all sponsors there from our office, and that was great. It worked out awesome. This year I reached out to them and I just said, how can I get more involved? Let's get me more involved, and then we'll get more connections going with other agents and so on. We're not basing this on strictly on our office, so it'll be anybody and everybody. We can sponsor, location, tents, bouncing, anything. And it'll serve two things, right? One will be just to raise money for these kids, or raise money for Backstage, and two will be to actually just be a great family event. Everybody just come down. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have music and all the good stuff.
So what is sponsorship? What are they sponsoring?
When you're sponsoring, then you would sponsor either the location,
Okay.
or you.
I guess they got to rent a space and such, right?
Absolutely. So then the next thing that we're going to be working on is actually the food. Once we have a little bit more details on that, I'll be reaching out to more agents around the area and stuff and see how we can get involved, or if anybody wants to get involved in this. This will be my role in all this, and then this is what we're going to be doing. So.
All right. So food for what? Is there like a gala? Is there like
It'll be like a gala style. I'm not sure how formal it's going to be yet. I have limited detail because we're still working it out.
Okay. So what happened last year? Was it just at Drop Zone, or what was?
It was at the egg grounds in Grunthal there. So it was right during Bolorama, and it was they had a silent auction.
Okay.
I think they call it a silent auction.
Nobody's yelling.
You
So
get tickets and you put them into a thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then they had a big prize, which was either a smoker or a Blackstone. I think it was a Blackstone.
Okay.
And who doesn't want a Blackstone?
I love mine. Yeah.
I need one.
Leave mine alone.
But he doesn't know I'm going home with his.
Good luck.
Yeah. No, it'll be a fun. It's gonna be fun, and I hope to be doing this in the long term and as it grows, and it's growing every year. This is year 3, I believe.
Year 3. Okay.
Yep.
My next question is where we're at with that.
I believe it's year 3.
Okay. How do people get involved? Do they reach out to you? Do they reach out to Mike? Do they?
Either way, you
Okay.
can reach out to me, or you can reach out just through social media, Facebook or Instagram, and just reach out to the Kyler Rogal Memorial page, and just check it out. There's a lot of great things happening on there, and I know they'll be selling cups like somewhat like this, and with the You Matter logo will be on here and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty great. And all those things, I know $10 per cup is going towards the fundraiser. So
Okay,
it's actually a substantial amount, and
that's pretty big, yeah.
it is, yeah. So the cups are $25, so like almost 50% of it is going to that. So pretty much break even
Yeah,
with the person who's creating them. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who's creating them, Joe? Shameless plug. Here you go.
yeah, Ames, yeah, exactly. Ames Laser Studio. So she'll be creating them,
Yeah.
and yeah, it is. I believe she'll be making about $3 per cup,
Okay.
and so that's not very high margins. So.
No, typically you're gonna have higher margins on that,
But it's a good cause. It's a cause that she believes in. It's a cause we believe in. So this is what we had talked about. This is what we're going to be doing.
what you believe is something it's easier for you to get involved in, and easier for you to give a little bit more,
100%,
right? So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Even with that, so you're gonna be involved. That's gonna take up a bit of time. That's gonna be something you're really interested in giving up there, eh?
It will be. It'll take some time. It'll take some effort and all that stuff, but it'll be worth it.
Good.
It's like your men's group.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So-
It's one of those things where, like I said, if you're passionate about it, you
100%.
yeah, and that's one of those things that kind of keeps for myself, and hopefully this is gonna keep growing as well. But like,
Yep.
you know, in men's group, we keep hearing more and more, and this ties in because Kyler and like maybe you could have used something where there's a resource,
Right.
right? Maybe there could have been something there, but men's group keep getting. Even today, we had somebody reach out. They're putting on a concert with a bunch of bands, and they're raising money and they're donating it to our men's group, and we're like,
Wow.
yeah, so that was something we just got
Wow.
reached out to today. We don't even know this person from hole in the ground, but they just heard that. But they decided to do that because their partner, he committed suicide a year ago, and they were raising money. At first, they're going to do for an animal shelter. Then they heard about our group, and they're in Winnipeg. We don't even know who they are at all. And I reached out to them afterwards, and this is amazing, right? Like, so we'll be in touch with what that's going to look like yet. So that's pretty exciting. But when you have community building around something, that's where you're going to reach out. That's where you're going to have an effect on that.
That just goes to show how much we need this.
Yeah.
We've all dealt with mental stuff.
Yeah.
You've shared a bunch of your story. I've shared a bunch of my story with you.
Yeah.
Sorry. But there's a need for it.
There is. Yeah.
And when there's a need for it, the community typically
Yeah.
just gets together and just pushes through it.
Yeah. And so when we have opportunities like to raise money for backstage for counseling,
Right.
for that kind of thing, like maybe we could have fewer outcomes like Kyler. Maybe we could have more
Right.
outcomes where we can actually see people thriving, growing, and contributing, and able to get out of those slumps and realize that they're not alone, that there's help out there, right? And so that's why this is an important cause, is if there's a way to give back, a way to do something, just really hit that and do it that way, right?
You've put this out there too, where if somebody wants to talk or just go for coffee
Yeah.
and you're at your wit's end, call us.
Yeah.
We'll go together.
Yeah.
Like,
You'll laugh for sure.
you'll laugh for sure, and if you don't, we'll find you the right people to talk to.
Yeah. No, and that's just it, right? It is being open to that.
Yeah.
And when you step out into those different places, like joining this cause, like there's going to be different opportunities that are going to come your way.
100%.
And it sounds fun at first, but it's going to it gets challenging too. But
It'll get challenging.
you know what? Your heart's in the right place, and so just keep on going with that. And I know Mike, Lisa, I'm sure they appreciate that a lot, and they want to see the growth that's happening. They want this to grow to something more, so that they're not giving a few hundred or 1,000 or a few thousand. Like, they want to give lots and start making that difference, right? So,
They got a heart of gold.
yeah,
Come on.
you can't get more of a buy-in than what they have, right? And
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
They're
just it.
invested.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's
Good.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So we're gonna shift a little bit once again. Let's
Sort of shifting.
Yeah.
Talking, or what are we doing?
we're shifting. Yeah, we want to keep this going. We want to make sure we cover all the bases, right? So, what is the future looking like for Joe? Where does Joe want to go in the future?
Oh, that is a great question. It's a question I feel like has been asked a lot lately. So.
Yeah.
You know my real estate goals. I have a lot of real estate goals. Everybody wants to have a good future, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I think at this point, I've started to just step back, and my goal is just to help.
Yeah.
If I can just help somebody, and so real estate, you know this, it doesn't give us a window into somebody's life. It actually gives us a door into somebody's life. We get to go into it, and it can be exciting. First-time home buyers, it can be we're buying our next house because growing family, which is great. It might be downsizing for an elderly couple who, or one has lost they lost one of the spouses, and there's a lot of tears.
Yeah.
And it's a doorway into their lives, and it's just there's a lot of tears. Like, I gotta let go of this. We've been in this house for 25 years. We've been in this house for 50 years, whatever it might be. And then transitioning into something smaller, maybe a condo or life leases or whatever it might be. But you also have the door into people's lives where it's like, we need to sell because we're at our wits' end. We can't do this anymore. We got stuck. The job loss or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Spouse, something, divorce. It just allows us to get in and chat with people and be there for them. It is way beyond about just selling your house.
You're right. Yeah.
I think at some point it isn't even about selling your house anymore. That is part of getting you the help that you need, or it might be the help that you're looking for at that time. I think that's just my main focus. I just want people to know that you've done it. We've seen people do this. And we've seen people go through this, and it hurts.
Yeah.
Some of them it hurts, and some of them it's just exciting. It depends on where they're at in their life.
Yeah.
Some of them you will be the punching bag.
Absolutely.
That's something I've had to learn, and that's rough.
Yeah.
Getting learned, you're just going to be the punching bag for a while, and they don't mean any of it.
No.
None of it. And it's just gotta learn to have a little bit of thick skin on you in this game, but that's where I'm headed. That's to help, to be there for people, and just guiding you home. I got it on my cups and stuff like that. This is what I want to do, and I want to leave a legacy that's of helping, right? So I think that would be pretty much sums it up.
No, that's a good way of saying it. Is when you do real estate, like, it's not just. Well, I shouldn't say no. Not it sounds like for everybody, but for a lot of agents, it's not just, oh, let's just quickly go get a paycheck. There's an element where the money does matter. We're not just. It's how we make a living. It's how we support our families. It's how we survive, right? So money does obviously play a role in it. But on a much deeper level, when you are invested with those you're working with, you're going there. You're calling them with the good news, and they're getting all excited because their offer was accepted, or you're calling them with, sorry, you got beat out on this one again because they offered 50 above asking and you only offered 20 above asking. And so you're like you're dealing with the heartbreak of that, and oh, sorry, this deal fell through and because of X, Y, Z, and it's unforeseen and we didn't know that was going to happen, or you know what, this is all working out and it's amazing, and so the emotions of real estate they don't prepare you as much for that, right? And
they don't.
It wasn't in the book. I don't know.
It wasn't in the book. It wasn't. They would have to have a whole nother book.
Yeah.
They're gonna do that. But no, it is true. It is. You will be shocked.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the ways that really shocked me about real estate. This is a whole different level into people's lives.
Yeah. No, and that's something I really appreciate about it, right? And then because that has also opened up different avenues of real estate for me has been another door of opening for doing different things like this men's group I'm doing, be on town council. Like, those are opportunities that I was able to do because I'm on doing real estate, because it's mutually beneficial, because I get to give back. Now I get to this opportunity. I've been blessed with being able to bless a lot of people, so now I can go in turn go give back to the community. I can give back to others, which is what you're getting into there now too, is giving back in a different way where you're getting more intentional, and you're just allowed to do that a little bit more now, right? It's huge.
Yeah, it does give you that freedom to be able to do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And everybody on here should know we all know Jeremy has a heart of gold. I was going to say a gold of heart, but we'll go with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
But just even seeing what you're doing with the men's group, and then seeing what you're doing on council, and then just it's inspirational, dude. Keep it up. Like, we're watching.
Yeah. No, I know. I keep getting messages. Just okay. I got it. No, just kidding. No, it's a lot of love. Like,
we're watching you.
Yeah.
I see
you know what texting me in? No.
No.
No. No, but that's just it, right? Is when you get that. I remember when I interviewed at Coldwell, they asked me, "What's my end goal? Is it to be real estate?" And I was like, "I don't know. I really don't have the answer for that." I said, "I know it's going to be a tool that's going to be used.
Right.
What it's going to look like, I don't know, but I feel like this is where I'm called to be, and so I'm going to do that. But where it's going to lead me, I'm not sure." And having said it, I thought about it after. They might just look at me like, "If you don't want to be real estate, then why you're not a good fit here, right?" But that was my heart. That's the truth, right? And because of that, it's also carried out the same way.
Yep.
It's what's your goal? What's your but even watching your career just coming in and just seeing how you just taken off, that's been for me the biblical saying of iron sharpens iron, right? Like
Yes.
that's something that I think we're very good with. We motivate, we encourage, we build each other up, and we go from there. We make jokes, we have a lot of fun, but when it's time to get down to business, it's pretty serious. We get it done,
And we make a lot of fun of each other.
and we make a lot. Wait, what?
Secret.
So yeah, I think all in all, proud of you, proud of where you're coming from, and
I
proud
appreciate
of
that,
getting you where you're going, especially with this Kyler Rogal Foundation. I think that's going to be that's going to make a good impact in the world, in this community, and all around. So I keep doing that. Those are good things, and your career, keep rolling, keep going. You're making massive gains every month. It's just you don't always feel it, you don't always see it, but it's coming, and it is.
You bet. No, it's very rewarding altogether.
Yeah,
Especially with relationships.
especially with relationships.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for joining this edition of Wiens World. Appreciate you guys sticking to the end, and join us next week.
Do it. Was that an hour?
It's 45 minutes.
Dang.